Hey everyone, it's 10 Types, and the tera mechanic in the Pokemon TCG was the main mechanic of the Scarlet and Violet era, and it was also the main mechanic in the video game. And it was translated in a unique manner that I figured we should talk about today. I've talked about this mechanic in the past, and I've been pretty harsh on it, but today I'm going to talk about how it originally had some real issues, and now it's a lot more interesting. Like, if we look at the metagame right now, and wait, where is it? We look at the metagame in Phantasmal Flames, looking at like the top 10 decks. We have three Tera decks, Scarlet, ignoring other here. You got Scarlet, EX, which is a Tera. You have Charizard EX, which is Tera, and Dragapult EX, which is Tera. And if we look at these cards, you can see that they are Teras, and they also have things that interact with Teras in some ways to some extent. Okay, not Dragapult really, but if you look at Charizard, it's got like Briar, which we'll talk about in the video. Scarlet EX here also has Briar, and there are some other ones as well. But let's talk about what the Tera mechanic is, and we're going to go from old to new here as well. In terms of Tera cards, and I'm just going to go set by set as well. First of all, the Tera mechanic in the video game, I'm not the most familiar with the video game franchise, but the Tera mechanic is used to both change a type and it can also make Pokemon stronger. However, in the TCG, looking at Scarlet and Violet base set, we can see that there are a handful of Teras in this set. For example, there was Gyarados EX and Arcanine EX. Were those the only ones? There was, yeah, just those two, I believe. And you can see Arcanine EX is just, it's a random card. I don't think it's really seen any play. It's not particularly good. It's not like horrendous, I guess. But anyways, it has the Tera rule or whatever. It's not an ability, though it does function similarly to an ability. It also has a unique design, which is cool enough, I guess. You see it like surrounded in this crystal body, and then it also has like a crystal helmet of its type. But then you have this effect here that says as long as it's on your bench, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks both yours and your opponents. This is kind of interesting, I guess, and I'll just quickly talk about this. This is the only thing that all Tera Pokemon have, other than the fact that they literally say Tera on them, which actually matters probably more than this we'll just call it ability. It is also not an ability, so it can't be turned off by ability effects, and allows you to hit through something like, say, Corso, Master or Pontiacs as well. But for the most part, the fact that it's not an ability doesn't matter too much. I guess you could say this card has an ability and two attacks, so three in combination of abilities and attacks is kind of cool, but also this ability isn't super interesting. There are various Pokemon that are immune to bench damage. Most of them are just immune to bench damage from your opponent's Pokemon, so theoretically, you could pair a Tera with a card that damages your own bench and negate that downside. I haven't actually seen anyone do that as far as I'm aware. Tell me down below in the comment section if someone has. I know there is a Steelix and a Scourge as well that like hit your own bench, which I think are okay-ish, and you could negate that there, but ultimately it's not super meaningful. It does stop your opponent from doing spread damage to you through damage, not placing damage counters through something like Dragapult EX, but will stop something like Wellspring Mask, Ogerpon EX hitting your bench. So it's like moderately useful. To be honest, though, it makes some decks more boring. Looking at the meta right now, we don't really see spreads. Well, you see Dragapult placing damage counters. You see Mars Grimmsnarl EX. Most of the damage done to the bench is through damage counters. The Mars Grimmsnarl EX can't hit the bench, hitting a Tera there. Then you can also see like toolbox attacking decks having snipe options, but no deck's really a true bench damage deck. Maybe there's Hydreigon. Hydreigon's not super good, and it's it can be using the first attack or the second attack, and that's the best option. That's not an amazing thing to be looking at, but ultimately it does hurt these spread decks in a way that's, I'd say, a little uninteresting. There are bench barrier effects like there's Shaman in Standard. There was Manaphy when these came out, and they are fair bench barrier effects to counter spread decks if that's what you're worried about, as opposed to just like making a whole mechanic that kind of shuts it down. So for the most part, this Tera effect is really boring. Again, tell me down below in the comment section. I'd love to hear your thoughts as to why, if you think this is good or bad. For the most part, I haven't really heard anything good about this. I mean, it makes the card objectively stronger and is useful in some situations, but in terms of interesting card design, I say it doesn't really hit the mark there. So if that's all there was, this would be terrible. And speaking of terrible, as I said, these cards are pretty bad as well. So, well, the Scarlet Violet base set technically had Teras. It didn't really have much to do there. I guess I can look this way as well. Then we come. Oh, okay, never mind. This oh, those are promos. This card isn't even rendered. Looking at the next set, Paldea Evolved, we see some more Terras, of course. For the most part, nothing super crazy here. None that are particularly good as well. There's, I guess, Forager CX is the best one. This card, you can pair it with Crustal. Apparently, I haven't actually seen anyone do this in an actual game because you want to be like slowing the game down. Fortress does not. It knocks itself out, gives up 2 prizes, but it's a card here. It's a funny card. You can pair it with like Mega Kangaskhan. I've seen that a little bit. That's okay. But for the most part, this card and the Terra is still bad. But then we come to the third set here, and we come to Obsidian Flames. Obsidian Flames didn't have too many Terras, I don't think, but it did have some, or it had some Terras, and it had some really important things. First of all, I had Charizard EX, which is the arguably the strongest of the Terras. Again, I was looking for comments. Tell me down below in the comment section what you think the best Terra is. If you think it's Dragon Ball EX, I think it is. Or sorry, Charizard EX. It could be Charizard. I think it's Charizard. It could be Dragon Ball. It's one of those two. I'm pretty sure, unless I'm forgetting some. Other two. My Sucker Fun EX is also pretty good. I would put it above those two, but Charizard is the one I'd say is the best. But it's been out longer. Maybe Dragon Ball's better. There's some different ones, you know. And then Charizard EX here has its attack, which is just like it does good damage. It's a pretty boring Pokemon. I'm not gonna lie. It powers itself up. It can power other stuff up, but if you look at Charizard Dex, you can see it like it can power up Dragapult kind of. It can power up stuff like Chi-Yu, yeah, like Gouging Fire EX in this list. It could allow you to attack with Pidgeot EX and President EX, and there's also there's this Ho-Oh. Oh, okay, this stuff isn't loading great. I haven't really seen people use Ho-Oh. There's also a Moltres, but that's like 1 energy. I guess Ho-Oh does Ho-Oh see? I don't. Yeah, it doesn't see that much play, but it's all right in Charizard. But anyways, Charizard is just good. So it's one of the best Terras, and really paved the road for Terras being pretty good. But on top of that, it also is a card that introduces the first or the most important part of the Terra mechanic from the video game, the type changing. I'm going to be completely honest. I wish almost all the Terras changed types. Most don't, and we'll get to some a slightly different mechanic as well, and the stellar aspect, and none of those change types there. But Charizard EX here does change types. It goes from Charizard normally a fire Pokemon, and there's a card that, of course, it uses fire energy. Here it still uses fire energy, but it's not fire, it's darkness, and this allows you to have different weaknesses and resistances and have different type coverage. To be honest, it doesn't change the gameplay that much. I'd say it's a little better than the Delta species mechanic. Wait, Delta? That's not in the name, is it now? But if you look up Mimikyu, this I don't know why I chose Mimikyu Delta species. This is like not a normal one. But anyways, this card or like Gardevoir, Delta species. You can see, obviously, Gardevoir, normally Psychic, Mimikyu, normally also Psychic. But yeah, you got the Water Mimikyu, this Fire Gardevoir EX, but it still uses Fire energy. So essentially, it functions the same as any random Fire Pokemon, still using Fire energy. It is a separate evolution line, so some interesting things there, but not super interesting. But here you see some weird type mixing, which can be cool. This does give grass, like grass can hit Charizard the extra weakness, but it gets hit for weakness by fire. So really interesting dynamic there. It's still relatively niche. I think it would actually be cool if, for example, Charizard EX, you could get in any type, and then have it be like a toolbox of different Terra options. I would have really enjoyed that, but that would be like really complicated to. I mean, either one, you could have like your set be like half Charizard EXs, which I'm sure Pokemon would like that. But I don't know if that's quite the best thing for the game. And then, or you have this like really big stats, but these cards are super rare and hard to get, or something like that. So it makes sense that they didn't do it. But ultimately, this is kind of cool. And the thing that makes the Terras interesting, that being said, as I said, it doesn't change the game too much. Charizard is mostly just going to be a Darkness deck now that uses Fire Energy, but it doesn't really matter because mostly you're attacking with Charizard EX. And that's true for most of these type changing Terras. Again, this set didn't really have too many crazy Terras in it. Charizard was good. The other ones were kind of meh. Like I've seen people play Tyranitar EX. It's kind of fun. Okay, I promise I've seen people play this card. And then there's Vespiquen. I've seen people play this. I'm looking at like city leagues. Like people aren't really playing these. But they're not super good. But they're they are kind of interesting and as I said, paving the way for other things. Then we look at I keep clicking on the wrong thing. We look at 151 does not have any. I'm pretty sure the mini sets for the most part didn't have Terras. Paradox Drift here focuses more on the Paradox Pokemon. Paradox is another mechanic from the Scarlet and Violet era. A pretty generic one in terms of it's just like a name changing or it's a I call it a named mechanic. So certain cards have this attribute, which is true of the Terras as well. Certain cards have the Terra attribute, but every Terra card also has something mechanically unique. Well, I don't know if unique, different from a normal card. Being the bench damage versus Iron Moth is just a regular fire Pokemon, but it happens to have the future label slapped on and has something to do with future stuff as well. Do you see Garchomp EX? Garchomp EX, I'll quickly mention here. This is kind of like the opposite of Greninja EX. I think I talked about both these cards in a video a while ago. It's actually pretty interesting how they contrast each other, but ultimately it's not super um, powerful or interesting. I mean, it's okay. You compare it with like Okidogi, or some different things. But anyways, there's also Serving the EX, again, another like kind of cool Terra. The most interesting Terra from this set actually, okay, Hoopa EX was actually good as well. This one actually uses the type changing really well, being a card that it's Darkness Energy, but hits fighting weakness. It's seen play. Oh, it still sees play, apparently. Though not that much play. But Moses saw play in Lost Zone Box, a deck that did have versatility in terms of energy type, but didn't want to be playing like every type. So it got an extra weakness to be hitting in the Psychic type. Or no, not in the Psychic type. In the hitting fighting to hit like Lightning or Colorless or whatever, which is really useful, hitting a lot of different Pokemon for weakness. It is weak to Psychic, but that's not too bad. Also, if you're against like Psychic, you have Roaring Moon EX, which Darkness hits, which is Darkness, which is weakness there. So you have some interesting options. It's a cool card. I don't actually know how good it was. I didn't really play too much Awesome Box with Hoopa EX in it, I don't think. But it is still pretty cool there. That being said, I've been like saying these cards are cool. They're kind of cool, but they're not super meaningful again that they're Terras, except for a handful of situations with the type changing stuff. And then still there's a bunch that aren't type changing. In this set, like I think, are they all type changing? I don't know. They mostly are. But a couple more cards I do want to highlight from the set. Mewtwo EX is super weird. This card saw play. Um, it's not good. I'm not gonna lie. This card is it's on play in Miraidon EX. It allowed you to use Arrow Zero under depths, which we will be getting to later. But that you need a Terra, and you need a Lightning Terra, and the only Lightning basic Terra was Mewtwo EX. I'm pretty sure. And you literally cannot attack with this card. That is super boring. This card was like one of the most boring cards I've ever seen in a deck, alongside maybe Walking Wake in the Ancient Box, because they don't do anything. Like they technically do something, they kind of feed into your game plan, and they have the synergy there. But they, in terms of like, they can't attack, use an ability. They just sit on the bench or like sit in the discard. And yeah, I mean they're really boring. And so this card is like super weird. It got replaced by Pikachu EX, and that came out because Pikachu EX is like actually good. Mewtwo EX, I mean, it's not the worst card ever, I guess. You could pair it with some Psychic stuff. If you look here, we might be able to find someone using it in a Psychic deck. Yeah, with like Espathra EX, it's okay, but for the most part, or with Zadu, but it's so weird, and in the being a different type actually makes it a lot less interesting of a card than if it was just a regular Lightning Pokemon or like a regular Psychic Pokemon there. Also, I want to shout out, maybe not shout out, but maybe this is just me. I think this card looks horrendous. Like, I normally don't care about how cards look. I really like the art style of Pokemon in general. I feel like it's generally visually appealing. This combination, the yellow lightning on the like orange fighting, just looks, there's so little contrast. It just, I don't know. To me, it looks really bad. Maybe other people really like it, but it's something. Yeah, weird contrast there. But anyways, Paradox Rift, fine for the Terras. Pelion Fates did have a Spathra EX. I'll mention that. Cool little card. I enjoyed playing it. Actually, good against Charizard. He has some weird types being like shifted there. But again, in terms of actual mechanical stuff, it doesn't really matter too much that they're Terras. Then we have Temporal Forces. Temporal Forces was a set more focused again on the Paradox Pokemon. We see like less Terras in this set. Was there just the one, the Wugtrio EX? Super fun card, honestly. This card's super sick. I'm not gonna lie. You should try it. I haven't actually tried it. Maybe I should try it. You just grab up to 3 waters from your hand. It does 60 to 1 of your opponent's Pokemon for each energy discarded. You compare this with, has anyone done this? Compare it with Goldengo. It's a shockingly cool card in Goldengo. It's kind of similar to what Goldengo EX does. It has a similar play pattern, except it does snipe. It's just kind of cool. It's just a cool card. It actually does more damage per energy than Goldengo of up to 3 energy. It's not that much more either, but it's a fun little card here. It hits weakness and it does some fun things there. But for the most part, Terra's kind of put to the side. And you have Twilight Masquerade though. Twilight Masquerade, things were really kicked up in terms of the quality of what the Terras were. We have both the Ogre Pawns, and we also, oh, Grinch EX, I mentioned that earlier. Pretty cool card, honestly. It was fun to play. I played in Control for a little while. Then you have Dragapult EX. Dragapult EX, as I said earlier, is like super good for one color, so you do 70, but for Fire or Psychic, you do 200 active, 6 damage cards on your opponent's bench Pokemon in any way you like. A bit of a callback to Dragapult VMAX, or honestly a few different Dragapults before doing Gushing active and then also some spread damage there. A pretty interesting card in my opinion. In terms of there are some different ways to build it, there are different ways to power it up as well. It's a card that's super highly played, so I think that's made it feel a little bit more boring in the meta, especially to play against, and it's quite strong. It doesn't have any weakness, technically. It is weak to Clefairy EX if that's on the board, which happens a bunch. But when it came out, it didn't have any weakness. It was also played when it came out mostly in Regidraco V-Star. Was played on its own some, but it wasn't really played on its own too much. Also, one of my most popular videos I made, which actually had a guest on Funky Fizz, which also I did just make a video. Check that one out with Funky Fizz, another one. But Dragapult is, I said that this card was good. I said Dracloak wasn't that good. I lied. Like, I actually just lied. Because, well, I said it after, right? People like commented, and then I said it after in the video. So people probably just commented when they heard it and then didn't like missed the next part. Anyways, it's yeah, Dracoloak was pretty good. Dragapult has been played without Dracoloak though, but I said Dracoloak was kind of not super good because I didn't want to help out Funky Fizz. Because I thought that would make him realize that Dragapult is good, especially if I like mysteriously knew like all this info about a previous evolution. But anyways, Dracoloak is good. It helped it out. But Dragapult is good on its own as well. It's not super interesting in terms of what it does. Kind of like Charizard. They're relatively straightforward cards, but they're kind of cool. This one doesn't type change. I mean, I guess the energy is different than the type that it is, but that's because it's Dragon, not because it's a Tera there. And the fact that it's a Tera almost never matters. It can matter from time to time. People can just like forget. People just like snipe your Dragapult. I've done it. Like you just forget because it doesn't really matter. But it's not something you really want on the bench. And yeah, I mean Dragapult is good, but the fact that it's a Tera doesn't matter too much. And there are the Ogre Pawns as well. There's Corso Master Ogre Pawn EX. There is also Master Ogre Pawn EX, and there's Teal Master Ogre Pawn EX. There is also the Fire one. Also, these cards can interact with each other through use of the item Ogre's Mask. Really fun card here. This card is kind of bad. It's not really necessary, and people just like you can use Energy Switch to do something pretty similar, and it's like more versatile Energy Switch than Ogre's Mask there. But anyways, they're good cards. They're all different. They can work together. They're just really really neat cards there, and I think they're all awesome. Well, the three, not the Fire one. That one's kind of bad. It's not a terrible card though. Yeah, it's playable. You can mess around with it, do some fun little things with it. But ultimately, I say fun. The other ones all are more interesting and unique there. But they are super good. Well, TMS Sugar Punny X has been super good for a while. It's like backing out a little. We can pair it with, I think it's seen play in Terra Box, Raging Bolt EX, and Regidraco V-Star. Yeah, those three decks. Mainly Regidraco and Raging Bolt, but I mean, it's been a big part of Terra Box, which has been around for a while too. So, it's a really good card. As I said earlier, potentially the best Terra. I wouldn't say so. It's not really the focal point of a deck, but it's also pretty versatile. Ultimately, these cards were really good, and it really cemented Terras as being good. However, it didn't really matter that the Terras. I mean, like Ogre Pond could have not been a Terra and been pretty much the same. But then we also see Shroud of Fable. Shroud of Fable, you had one Terra, which is Refervoom EX. And Refervoom EX is the only Lightning Pokemon in the set. Super random, but that's the thing. Shroud of Fable, also such a good mini set. Also, so good for players, so bad for collectors. I'm really happy that they kind of separate these things in these ways, except for the fact that Fantastical Flames is more of a collector set. But anyways, then we come to Stellar Crown, and this is where everything kind of changes in a good way. Because for the most part, these cards, we've seen some cool Terras so far to this point, which I'm talking about. However, they're kind of boring because they're Terras. Like, the fact that they're Terras doesn't make them more interesting, except for in few specific scenarios with some of them. But then we come to Stellar Crown. Stellar Crown has two different things it introduces. First of all, it introduces the what are they? The Stellars. I don't know how I almost forgot that. They aren't technically a different mechanic. They do look a little different. You see this like white texture. They have a different hat, which is cool. Like, I guess you don't really see the hat in the pictures very well. But then they also have these attacks. They have the special Tera, or no, special Stellar attack here. Again, they are still Teras. They don't take bench damage, but from either Pokemon or either player. But then you have this attack here for 3 different types of energy. This is the same as the Amazing Rare mechanic, which again also wasn't like a different mechanic technically. And also, other side note, maybe the Amazing Rares should be banned in GLC. When GLC came out, people were like asking about it all the time. They're like, nah, they're fine. And then like all the best ones are banned, and then all the other ones are bad, for the most part. But anyways, that was completely random. And it doesn't really matter now. But Cinderace EX here isn't very good. I'm not gonna lie. This card is cool. Also, another fun little card I played with. But Cinderace EX is it has a special attack which has this unique energy cost. And then you have, and Cinderace here does 180 snipe. Also, I want to say Galvantula's Tera or Stellar attack does 180. Cinderace EX's Stellar attack does 180, and Terapagos EX, a third one, it does 180. Why did they all do 180 except for the Lapras? Which, by the way, this Lapras card super trash. It can be an attacker in another deck, but like using it to power it up, using a Stellar attack, it's so expensive. It's set up. Also, these cards got leaked, and I like made a video. Also, that video did kind of well, and I was like super sick. I want to say I've almost never recorded a video where I'm like actually legitimately sick. That one I was actually sick, like really sick. But Lapras is trash. It's like so bad. Also, you look at 20 cards. I don't know how you like physically do this. I've never seen anyone do. I mean, I know how you do it. You just count to 20, but that seems clunky. Anyways, so we got these 4. The best of them was obviously, if you don't know, it's Terapagos. Terapagos is good. Terapagos is like not super good on its own. It's seen some play on its own when it came out. What is this? Okay, so it's seen play with like Terapagos with with Noctoris we'll talk about. Also with Cloth. But Cloth is like better than Terapagos. Well, okay, Cloth. I love Cloth. It's bad now because the card it worked with it rotated, but or the double turbo energy rotated. But yeah, I mean it does doesn't do more than Trap goes, but it does almost as much. And it hits for bacon just and it's a single presser, right? So anyways, there are some cool partners for Trapghost. It was really good. It wasn't amazing. Instarant is like still played. It's one of the better cards certainly in the game, but it's not like truly amazing. But anyways, this also again has a Stellar attack, but that doesn't really matter. This card again was good, but what matters is the deck it went in and the cards it paired with, which were the first cards that we've ever seen that actually care about Terras. There was Christmas. Christmas like super good, or it's not like absurdly good. It's quite good. But this card is played. It's played a lot with Terras. Also, it's played with Dragon Pokemon, and it's played in different things, right? Crispin's played a lot. It's a very good supporter. It's not like true top supporter, but it's pretty good there, and it's intended to work with the Stellars. It is not played really with the Stellars though, except for like except for Flareon, where you can attack with a Stellar attack, which we'll get to at the end of the video. But there are a handful of cards, Briar, which I mentioned at the beginning, as well as Glass Trumpet. Glass Trumpet is like super weird as well. This card, it only works. A bunch of these only work if they have a Tera in play. I'll quickly go through them. Knocked Owl only works with the Tera in play, gets 2 trainers. Then you have Air Zero Underdepths, only turns on with the Tera in play, increases bench size. And then you also have Briar, only works if you with a Tera attacking, you take 2 more, you take an extra prize if your opponent has 2 remaining. You have Glass Trumpet, only works if there's a Tera in play and accelerates energy. And Sparkling Crystal only works on a Tera. Sparkling Crystal, super cool card in my opinion. Also, so this I think is like still okay in Dragapult, like worth running sometimes. But anyways, I don't really play Dragapult, so I'm not the best source for that either. I realized as I'm going through this how much I just play decks mostly when they come out, and I don't really touch them again that often. But anyways, you have Sparkling Crystal, a cool card. A bunch of cool cards here. Last time, as I was saying, it was a little weird because it only works if you have a Tera in play, but it accelerates to colorless Pokemon. But it doesn't need to be the same. Like it's clearly intended to work with Terapagos, but you accelerate to Pokemon that aren't necessarily Terras. You need colorless and you need Terras, but they don't need to be the same. It's played some. It's like super weird, or it's not super weird, but it's kind of weird. It's pretty cool though. It's a really fun card. And then you have the coolest of them, in my opinion, which is Area Zero Underdepths. Increasing bench size is super fun. It's not unconditional though. You do need a Tera, so it can be a one-size stadium. However, there are a lot of decks in the game like Charizard and Dragapult and Ceruledge which can use this. Not that they're gonna play it, but if your opponent's playing Area Zero Underdepths, you can get value out of it. The decks looking to use this are going to be the ones playing the Ogre Pawns. The ones playing the Ogre Pawns. I think pretty much every deck that plays this plays Ogre Pawn. Maybe except for Trapghost. It's meant to work with Trapghost, but people don't play Trapghost on its own very much. But it's really fun, allowing you to do some more things. 3 extra bench slots is nice. It's not absurd, but it's good. Um, it could be turned on and off. It has some really cool interactions, some really weird ones. Not like super weird, but kind of weird. Like if you're knocked out, your only Terra's knocked out, and you got like a bunch of bench Pokemon, you're gonna go down to 5 bench Pokemon, and you lose your active, so you lose potentially 4 Pokemon as opposed to losing 3 Pokemon like when the stand would be bumped. So it's a cool little card here though. With some really interesting things. I made a weird did Durant EX deck with it as well. Super trash, but really funny. And yeah, overall some really cool things you could do. The stellar stuff. The stellar stuff was super boring. Oh, we'll get to it. The stellar cards though. These attacks were so bad. Like Trapagos EX, it has 2 attacks. The one's 2 colorless, and the one is Grass, Water, Lightning. It's on a basic, by the way. Their basic stages are stage 2s like normal cards, and they're so expensive. Like their 3 energies is like kind of expensive, but like the Terra Ogre have 3 energy attacks for the most part, or they all have 3 energy attacks, and they are attacks that are payable, but they're not like free by any means. So 3 energies on the basic is a bit. It's not like again, it's workable, but it is something you need to commit resources to. And these are 3 of 1 type, or mostly colorless for some of the Ogre Pawns. And Trapgos has 3 different types. This attack isn't that good. It doesn't want any walls basics that aren't colorless. Um, Walling colorless basics. Also, I always forget this is non-colorless. It does not wall ogre, or no, it does not wall. Oh, it doesn't wall itself. That's like the point. But it doesn't wall the Blood Mirror Saloon EX. It doesn't really wall that much. Like I haven't really seen this attack used very much. It's kind of niche. You're putting like gust around it. It doesn't do that much damage. So, anyways, then you have Unified Beatdown. Unified Beatdown. If you have, it does 30 for each of your bench Pokemon. Can't be used turn going second. But also, you can't like really use Crown Opal turn going second. I mean, you technically could, but presumably you're not because it's hard to set up. So Unified Beatdown is cheaper and it's potentially stronger. It's probably stronger. You want Air Zero Underdepths, but it's going to be doing 240, 220 if you get double turbo, which was in the game. And yeah, I mean it's weak. It's the second attack's like weaker. It's hard to pay. It does have some utility, but it's niche. And then you look at the other ones. I'll quickly go through all of them. Galvantula EX loses all the energy. It's like theoretically strong. It's played a little in Joltik. Joltik's like a really good card from this set. Some people think I'm a Joltik hater. I think people have like calmed down on Joltik box, saying it's like amazing. It's like it's all right. But Joltik itself is a good card. I just think that there's energy issues with it, especially with Galvantula EX, which this card again it loses all the energies. That's like super bad because the energies are so like it's so hard to get the energies on. If a deck's playing this, it's probably not playing fighting energy. It's just using it as a 2 energy stage 1 that is pretty decent, right? The first attack does more damage again. Why does the first attack do more damage when it's cheaper objectively in terms of number and types? And the second one discards like it's so bad. And then you look at the other ones. You have Cinderace EX. Cinderace EX is kind of cool. It does again less damage, but it can snipe. It's a fun card. Cinderace EX is pretty cool to play. Not super good, but kind of fun there. I mean, 180 snipe for a stage 2, 3 energy of different types is like is still pretty bad. And then Lapras EX here. The first attack is like whatever. It's like a generic energy like Hydro Pump style attack, doing damage based on energy attached to it. But then you have Larma Rain. Also, these are all named after like rocks. That's something that also I'm like not familiar with like all these different rocks. But Larma Rain, you look at the top 20. I said this earlier, and then you like accelerate energy, but it's a 2 prize you're leaving inactive, and it like accelerates energy. And it's like so expensive, and then you might not even hit like what you want. It's bad. It's really bad. It's funny, but it's quite terrible. But then we go to the next set, Prismatic Evolution, or no, Surging Sparks, then Prismatic Evolutions. I'll talk about these two together. Prismatic Evolutions had the Evolutions, and also after that, there weren't any more Terras, unfortunately, unless I'm forgetting something pretty minor there. But there weren't really more Terras, so. The set Surging Sparks had some Terras here. Sterling EX pretty good. First attack. First attack, arguably stronger than the second in terms of raw damage. It kind of depends. Or situationally, I guess. Not arguably. It's subjectively one that's stronger at every time. But then Raging Amethyst also discards all the energy. And it's so hard to pay. Like, why? And then, and it like doesn't synergize with anything. The first attack is really cool. It's like straightforward, but it's cool. Another card where the Terra, the Cell attack, super terrible. Also we do have my Loda EX, which walls Terras. Cool little card. It's just a little bit of play. As like a walling option, which cares about cards being Terras. So you got Pikachu EX. Pikachu EX is definitely the best stellar attack. I might have forgotten to say this earlier. It is Grass, Lightning, Metal, does 300. This is like more than any other Terra does, or any Stellar does. It's more than like, it's one of the most powerful attacks in the game. You do lose all the energy. Again, that's kind of rough, but you do have an ability that makes it like, you can't one-shot it. I mean, you can like get around that with certain things, but the ability is good, the attack's good. Yeah, I mean, this card's like, this card does more damage than the Cerulege, which is just stage 1. And this actually, Cerulege discards all the energy. This just discards 3, so theoretically you could have more. Um, and it's like tankier. Pikachu EX is like so much better than all the other Stellars in terms of. There's also Flareon. Flareon's like good. But yeah, Pikachu EX also you can play it just as a way to expand your range. It's a cool card here. The by far best developed of the Stellars because it doesn't have another attack. So if you want the card to have a good attack, it has to be the Stellar attack. Unlike all the other ones where they just gave the attack to the more payable attack. Also, there's this Azumarill. This one like works with Terras. There might be another card I'm forgetting that works with Terras. But oh, there's Tera Orb. So let's search as Terras. I think Tera Orb is pretty boring. It's only good in a deck where you have a bunch of different Terras. In this deck here, you have, was it 5? Yeah, 5 different Terras. It's like kind of cool. But I mean, there aren't really support Terras outside of like Kilmasoga Pontiac, so it's still kind of boring there. I wish there were just like Megas. I wish there were like true support Pokemon there. But anyways, it's fine. And also TM Fluorite. TM Fluorite. Also, I believe the only type of machine that doesn't rotate. Let's see, we have, yeah, the others are all going to rotate soon. This one's not going to rotate. It's so bad. Again, it's 3 energy. It needs to be, it doesn't need to be on a Terra, but it heals all your Terras. And again, it loses all the energy. It's impossible to pay. Why does this card exist? It's super terrible. But anyways, yeah, then you have, the other ones. You got Testigo EX. Testigo EX is really fun. Let's see, has anyone played it? No, not here, because it's so bad. This one, I was talking about Lapras EX being a liability in the active. This one, 3 energies, it's super inconsistent, so hard to pay, lowest HP for a 2-pricer in the game. Just so trash. This one's super fun because it's bad, but again, it's bad. Like, they shouldn't all be bad with their stellar attacks, or they shouldn't mostly all be bad. Long Executor EX, this one's actually kind of cool. This one was played in Regidraco V-Star. It's like Corn Flippy. It's like pretty bad on its own, though it's not super horrendous. The first attack's like cool as well. But you could ignore the attack cost. So that kind of defeats the purpose of being a stellar. I mean, it's kind of cool. It's a fun card. Regidraco, cool deck. Again, a deck that was really popular. So at the time, people were kind of like complaining about it. But it's fun. With toolbox mechanics, I didn't play it that much either. But it is cool. And then it didn't really have the stellar aspect. And then there's Flygon. Flygon, super. Oh, I forgot Sylveon was in the set. Flygon, spread attacker. This one is super bad because Terras are a lot of the EXs and are immune to bench damage, and this one does bench damage. So this is a card that's just like shut down by being a Stellar, or by being a Terra, or no, by there being Terras. And also by being a Stellar, with its attack being like unpayable. Like arguably the first attack is better. This card has seen a little bit of play for the first attack because the first attack is decent. The second attack is not. And then you also have the Palisand EX. This one is like also spread. This set out a bunch of random spread ones. There's another spread one too. There's Hydreigon EX. Hydreigon EX is pretty cool, doing bench damage, but it does like a lot, and it's more targeted, and it doesn't like lose all the energy or something silly like that. And also, the first attack is cool as well. Arguably, the first attack is, I mean, it's not stronger. This is also the only one that's 4 energies, but it is actually a strong attack here. Dragon EX isn't super good. The deck's playing it. Also, I didn't mention there is Neo Upper Energy, which you can use. It functions very similarly to Sparkling Crystals, mostly being used on Terras, and Sparkling Crystal is a tool which allows you to pay for or reduce your cost by 1 of any energy type. Versus Neo Upper Energy is 2 energy of any type. You can also attach a basic, and so then a basic plus Sparkling Crystal, which by the way, Sparkling Crystal would act as a regular energy essentially, and is searchable as a tool. Basic is easier to search than special energy, so pretty much they pretty much even out. Here you have another tool you want, so you can use TM Turbo, or you can use Jump Energy plus like Counter Gain or TM Devolution or something. Which is like theoretically useful. That's why it's played, but they have so much overlap. I really don't like the design of New RNG, I think, is probably my least favorite of the A-Spec designs, or one of my least favorites there, because it has so much redundancy with Sparkling Crystal. Sparkling Crystal is like unique and it's like has its versatile. It's cool. New RNG is like super boring. But anyway, Dragon EX pretty decent. A cool card here. Definitely the most battleground of them. Of these Stellars there with like a usable stellar attack. In terms of gameplay, it's not battleground. If your opponent pulls it off, it's like it's so strong or so bad. Like there's no in between. The first attack has in between, but the other attack doesn't. And then there's also the evolutions there. We'll talk about them with prismatic evolutions. Also, this set super terrible for new cards, super great for reprints. Kind of annoying for the game as well, with Badu being the best card from the set by far. Also got overrated because it is by far the best card from the set as a new card. And people are like, this card is absurdly broken, like best card of all time. People are like calling for it to be banned before it came out. Like it's a good card. I'm not sitting here denying that, but it's not like the best card ever. Anyways, that's not what we're talking about though. We are talking about the Teras and the Stellars, which all the evolutions had a Stellar EX. Jolteon EX, Flareon EX and Vaporeon EX all had the same second attack for Fire, Water, Lightning. Also, they all evolve from EV. There's an EVX as well, which is a Stellar here, which can evolve into the Evolution EXs, which is cool. It has like a mediocre attack. Fire, Water, Lightning is the type that most of these are. You're gonna be using for energy. Then Leafeon also is the one of the better ones, which adds a grass to it. So that's like the energy types they're looking for the most part. And EVEX is searchable off of Tera Orb, which is really cool. A previous evolution being searchable off, that's pretty fun. It is a Tera enabling Noctowl, and it has usable attack, I guess. I haven't really seen it used, but it's all right. And then you have Carnelian, or I think they all have different attack names. Again, they're like different rocks or crystals. And then it does 280, can attack next turn. Doesn't lose all the energy. That's good. All the other ones lose all the energy. Flareon also can accelerate energy with its first attack. Leafeon is like a second attack, it's kind of whatever. This is mostly a weakness hitter, to be honest. And again, it's like also all the Stellars don't change type, so that's a thing. And then you got the Jolteon and the Vaporeon. These have different first attacks. The Jolteon EX's attack is okay, I guess. I've definitely played it some. I think this is a little underrated, I guess. It's not super workable. I mean, it's not great, but it theoretically can do decent damage for less energy on itself. You need to join your other Pokemon. It also has free retreat, so it has some use cases. I've used it. I think it's all right to play from time to time, but it's not super good. And then got the Vaporeon. This one is another spread damage, like actual damage, super bad. Can't hit. It only hits EXs and can't hit Terras, so it doesn't hit like anything, pretty much. So it's really bad. And then there's Glaceon. Glaceon's super wacky. This one does like some minor spread, and it can like instantly knock something out. Or also like, what is this rock? I have no idea what this is. But you got grass, water, darkness. So hard to pay. Instantly knockout if they have 6 damage counters on them, but that's so hard to do. Same thing with the Umbreon, which again loses all the energies and you just take one prize. Taking a prize is like good, but I mean, realistically, with an attack this powerful, you want to be taking 2 prizes. Like Flareon's going to be taking more than 1 on average, and it can attack next turn, but it doesn't lose all the energy. This can also do 116 Confusion, which is honestly arguably better than the other attack. Oh, this is seen play. I've like not really. Okay, it doesn't seem that much play, but it's seen some. I haven't really seen this been used. And then there's Sylveon. Sylveon's pretty cool here. Again, it also came out in Surging Sparks. It's super weird why it came out in like both sets, but there's a card here that allows you to, your first attack's like a generic attack, can hit weakness on Dragapult with Flare EX, and it can reduce damage and stuff. But anyways, Angela here, super interesting. Can't be used back to back, but shuffles 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon and all cards attached into their deck. It's a weird card. Again, I haven't seen this attack used too much either, but I know it is used some as like a disruptive option. It can be really cool. It can really shut your opponents out of the game, kind of. I mean, not like shut them out of the game, but it can really mess with them. It doesn't take prizes. It's a really unique attack. I wish there were more attacks that are kind of like this. It is expensive. It's not like super good, but it's okay. You can pair it with control stuff as well. It fits pretty well into Flareon as well. It is a cool card that is just kind of fun. Oh, there's Regigigas, which is more to Terras that came out in this set as well, as a fun little tech option in some different decks. Not a bad card by any means. Really good in Lugia, but not too good in other things. But for the most part, the Tera mechanic got redeemed pretty well, as we see the Terras kind of interacting with each other. And now we look at the metagame, and there's a bunch of Terras in it. You can see Flareon. I mean, you see Terra Boss, you see Raging Bolt, you see Flareon, you see Joltik Box. Hydreigon. In the top 20, we see a lot of decks, even like Greninja here. Okay, like they're not bad. Like Greninja is not that good, right? Let's be honest. It's like it's all right. It's fun. It's a cool deck. I'm not here hating on Greninja, but it's not a meta deck certainly. I mean, top 20 isn't like meta, but I feel like Terabox is kind of a meta deck. There's a big gap between Greninja and Terabox. Anyways, the Terra mechanic, I think, redeemed itself. I think Charizard and Dragapult, they don't really use the Terra mechanic. They use it a little bit, but there are cards that actually use the mechanic, and I wish they would have done a little more with it. Some interesting type changing stuff. Something a better TM than Fluorite. This is so bad. And I wish they made the Stellar attacks a little better, but I don't think they completely messed it up either. For the most part, I think the Scarlet and Violet mechanics are pretty generic and safe. But the card design is good. The Terra cards are fun to play with. And tell me down below in the comment section what you think of them. If you think they're cool, if you think they're bad, if you think they're exciting, if you think they're boring. I don't know, but I hope you enjoyed. This is, a pretty long walkthrough of the Terra mechanic, but I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell, all the good stuff. And as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.